Imagine that you go out and ask 100 of the top level table tennis players and coaches in the world, which is the most important table tennis shot to practice. I'm pretty sure that most of them will answer the service. And I completely agree on this one. But the truth is that your service will never be better than your follow-up. Because even if you have an amazing service, if your opponent knows that you are not dangerous in the ball after, they can easily just make a safe receive and they will not struggle with your service. A very good way to describe this is to say like my coach always did when I was younger. And Tal, I know you watch. So I think you should start talking about this more again with the young players and also with us older. And what he said is that your serve will never be better than your first attack. Because if you don't have a dangerous first attack after your service, your opponent will not have anything to be scared of. So this, and that I made a poll on YouTube asking what should be my next video, and you guys wanted to see this one, is the reasons why I made this video. How to improve after your serve in table tennis. The first thing we will talk about is extremely important, and it's something which is very easy to change, but still so many people do it wrong, and even myself need to think about it more often and make sure to don't do this mistake. And this is the position after your service. The most common mistake with your position after the serve is that you make your service and then you watch what will happen now, and you forget to get out from the table and take your position to be able to do your next shot. And the negative consequence if you stay too close to the table by mistake after your service is that you will not be able to put quality in the ball if your opponent receives long or fast. It is a big risk that if you try to attack, you will get the weight backwards, or that you will not be able to attack at all because you will be taken by surprise. And if you just go out from the table a bit and take your position, the long receive will not be a problem for you. You will stand there in the right position to hit the ball in front of you. But the short game, if we are close to the table, the short game should be easier. And it is actually true. The short ball will be very easy if you stay close to the table. But even if you take a step back and are ready for the long receives, the short ball will not be a problem. Because if you have the right technique, it's always a lot easier to move forward than move backward. So you will easily have time to get into the table and make a quality receive on the short ones, even if you're ready for the long receives. And I know that I told you guys to back out after the serve, but please don't go back too far. I really don't want to see anyone who needs to throw themselves to be able to reach the ball. Another thing about your position that's very important to be able to play a good ball after your service is, do I want to play backhand or forehand? For example, if I want to attack the next ball with my backhand, it will be very stupid of me to serve with my forehand from the deep backhand and then just stay in this position. Instead, if I serve from there, I need to make sure to move my body into the table to be able to reach the next ball with my backhand. And the same works if I want to take the ball after my service with my forehand. I need to make sure to stand in a position where my possibility to do a forehand receive with good quality is as good as possible. The next thing we will talk about is to have a plan after your serve, and this is something that makes me absolutely crazy. Ask the young players in my club, I always tell them, no, you cannot just go and service. You need to have a plan of what you want to do after your service. And to create your plan, you need to ask yourself two questions. 1, what am I good at? And 2, what do I want to do this ball? And when you have this plan created, you need to practice how to service to make this as likely as possible. A well-made and practiced plan is the reason why top players often can do insane shots after their serve, because the ball comes exactly where they expected. But at the same time, it can happen situations where they look really bad and maybe don't even touch the ball. And this is because the opponent surprised them with breaking the rhythm completely. So for example, if we know that we want to attack with our forehand from our backhand, then we can, for example, forget to make the pendulum serve short to the forehand. Because this is a serve that's very easy to receive deep out to the opponent's forehand. And we will not be able to follow our plan. I will now talk about a very common service system in top level table tennis and the consequences from this. And it's to have a good fast serve to the backhand and a short reverse pendulum to the forehand. It can be the reverse pendulum, it can be the backhand serve. It absolutely doesn't matter because the spin is the same. And if you can have this combination, the goal is to get the opponent wait and get little late on both the balls. So for example, with the long serve to the backhand, if you can surprise the player, many players, and myself included, like to turn around because you know that it's very common that you get an attack to your backhand. And if you have a good counter attack, it's a pretty easy ball to just go around and counter with your forehand. If you play on lower level, of course, the receive will be easier, so you maybe will get a push or a block to your backhand and you can be ready with your forehand. Then we got the reverse pendulum spin short to the forehand. If you can get your opponent a little bit late on this one, it will almost be impossible for them to receive a good receive to the forehand. So this gets you the opportunity to be ready to play from your backhand. If you want to turn, you can do this, but many people like to attack backhand on this one, and then if they try to receive to your forehand, you will stand in a good position for an easy ball to attack on. Before the next advice, I want you to go down to the comment section and comment your favorite table tennis serve, and hopefully in the future I can make a tutorial on how you can improve this service even further. But of course we also need a plan B and maybe even a plan C. And the plan B should often be an easier decision because you're ready for your plan A to put a lot of quality. If something else happens, okay, I will make something easier. So for example, I make my short serve to the forehand of my opponent. I'm ready for the ball to come to my backhand, but he flick it to my forehand. If this happens, I like to just play a slow attack straight. But what the plan B should be is very individual, and the most important part is not what is your plan B. It is that you have practiced it a lot, so your body will make the movement automatically. So most of the time, the plan of your serve should be built on a strength. But sometimes it can be very important to make something completely different just to break the rhythm. I will tell you a little secret about how I like to break the rhythm. So if you ever plan to play against me in the future, please stop watching so you don't know about this. I don't really like to attack hard on backspin. But sometimes I do my reverse pendulum deep to the opponent's backhand. Because in this position, most people will push the ball. They are ready for example, a banana flick in front of the body, but this serve will get them to need to reach with arm outside of the body and they will push. When I make this serve, I know I will get an easy ball and I always turn around. Not always, but most of the times if I see they are going to push, I turn around to be able to smash it. So even if I don't like to smash on backspin, this is a service I use sometimes to get around and get a smash. And the reason why I break the rhythm like this with the smash is that I want my opponent to know that, okay, he can smash on backspin too. I don't want him to predict what's my next shot. I want him to have the options open. Okay, he can smash, he can push, he can attack straight. I want him to be as insecure of what's going on as possible. So, to improve your game after your service, I want you to always put yourself in the right position out from the table after you have made a serve. I always want you to stay in a perfect way to play the shot you want to play. I want you to have a plan and to experiment a lot and practice a lot how to make this plan as likely as possible to happen. But of course, I also want you to have a plan B you practiced a lot on, so your body will make the move you want automatically.